So, Rocha, a lot of people really enjoyed your appearance on the second episode of the Reilly Roundtable.
Oh.
What do you say to that? Because, one, we talked a little bit about DC
Yeah.
and the reaction to that we happen to love Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And people were surprised about that. Your thoughts immediately?
Well, first, I appreciate being on the show, and it's nice that the fans have open minds to hear, because a lot of times we get a little guff saying that we're DC haters because we love Marvel so much. It's not that. It's we want a better product.
Yeah.
We do like certain things, and then not like certain things. Certainly, Man of Steel is one thing we do like.
Yeah.
We differ on other movies, which we'll find out in this show today. But that's just the way it goes. But I appreciated the fans and their comments, and I appreciate them being open minded, and thank them, I guess, for encouraging you to bring me back on. So thank you.
Yeah. So then I put out to the Patreons that I do have out there, my Patreon page, patreon.com, Reilly Roundtable.
Hey-o.
And I said, who would you like to see as a guest in the future? And a lot of people were like, bring Rocha back. And
I don't know why. But yeah.
Then I started thinking about it, and something funny happened at the office. Is that you think Justice League is a better movie than Batman v Superman?
Absolutely. It's certainly a more watchable movie than Batman versus Superman v Superman. That S would have made all the difference. It's certainly
No budget for it.
Yeah, you're right. That was the one thing they couldn't pay for. And I find that I enjoy the movie more than BVS, and it insults my love of the characters less than BVS does. So that's and overall the story works better, even though the ridiculous plot holes in it. It still works better for me than Batman versus Superman.
So it got me thinking.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
That this Reilly Roundtable then, because you couldn't be more wrong about Justice League.
Okay, yeah.
That movie is atrocious, awful. I can't even begin to describe the fact that they ruined so many story elements that were created for our love of Man of Steel, the start of the DC universe.
Right.
And so I wanted to bring you on to basically debate the merits between Justice League versus, or in this case, Batman v Superman here on the Reilly Roundtable. So let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of the Reilly Roundtable here on its new home. That is right. The announcement right out of the gate is that the Reilly Roundtable is no longer on the Collider Podcast Factory feed. No. I've been moved over to the one-on-one feed. Yes, the one-on-one feed, which is one-on-one with Christian Harloff. And the powers that be here decided that maybe my podcast, the Reilly Roundtable, is more perfectly suited for one-on-one. So guys, now, out there listening, this is the show that talks about movies. This is the show that talks about movies and life. This is the show that talks about movies, life, and everything in between. And now it's coming every Thursday on One-on-One, the One-on-One Collider Podcast One feed. You'll find it at One-on-One, and I'm very thankful for that. Thank you, as always, to everybody liking, sharing this, your thoughts, your comments, at Reilly Around on Twitter. I see all of them. I love all of you. It has been overwhelming, the response, and I couldn't thank you enough. But let's get that out of the side. I'm with my good friend, John Rocha. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, Mark. Thanks for having me back on. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, well, you know what? This will be fun. I gave you a little shit up top, but
Sure.
We over time we've been talking about the DC universe. Obviously, we talk about it a lot, in what we do. Whether it's Collider Movie Talk, whether it's news that we did at one point, whether it's the commentaries. I enjoyed the commentary I did do with you on Justice League,
Absolutely.
which I highly recommend checking that out because I don't feel like I didn't go to the YouTube comments, that's for sure. But I didn't feel like I got a lot of hate because I was very outspoken with my distaste for Justice League. But that got us talking, and I think it was your suggestion that we should talk about this. And then I did put it to my Patreons, and they were like, yeah, let's do that. And so I wanted to do that. I think it's fun. I think it'd be so much fun to just debate this mofuck, which is Batman v Superman versus Justice League. What movie's better? Subjective.
Yeah.
That's beside the point because art is subjective. Some people are going to love Justice League. Some people are going to love Batman v Superman. Let's just start this off right away. Guys, we love our movies.
Yep.
We love our movie characters. We love our Supermans, our Batmans, our Wonder Womans, our Flashes and Cyborgs, and everything out there in Justice League, in the DC universe. So this is all in good fun. So join in. Tweet at us, at Reilly Around, at The Rocha Says. Tell us how we're doing. Jump in the debate. Have fun with this. If I see you yelling, if I see harassment, if I see toxicity, you are out of here. I'm going to block your ass on Twitter because this is just fun. This is two friends sitting here talking about movies and, in general, just what we liked and disliked. So with that being said, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Rocha,
Yes.
why just make your opening salvo, if you will, for Justice League, why you think, in as succinct as possible, why you think it's a better movie than Batman v Superman.
Yeah, I found that I can rewatch Justice League more enjoyably than I can BVS. It does not anger me, the movie. It does not frustrate me, the movie. It's not filled with
like BVS does.
Like BVS does,
okay,
yeah. Like BVS to me is an incredible experiment gone wrong. Horribly wrong. And it bothers me to no end because I loved Man of Steel so much, what Zack Snyder did. But I think Warner Brothers overreacted to the Man of Steel backlash to a degree from critics or fans. They didn't look at the money they made and realize, like Transformers with Michael Bay, like they kept making that money till it was over.
Yeah.
But they tried to correct mid-course, shove in Dark Knight Returns, shove in all kinds of stuff into BVS that had no business being there, that hadn't earned. They made Superman, in essence, a background character in his own sequel movie. They made Batman completely irrational instead of an intelligent detective, which is what he is. And they completely shit on both of those characters throughout the whole movie. And the Lois Lane, they turned Jimmy Olsen into a criminal, for fuck's sake. And so to me, it just drove me insane. Whereas where I think Justice League was trying to course correct from where they had messed up in BVS. They brought back a brighter Superman, a happier, more Richard Donner type Superman.
Yes.
Ezra Miller stood out as Flash, was really great. Ray Fisher as Cyborg was fantastic. I thought everything I thought there was beautiful moments between Lois Lane, Amy Adams, and Henry Cavill. I thought Ben Affleck did a nice job being Batman. And of course, you had the Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, post Wonder Woman, so she wasn't walking around in tight dresses trying to be sexy like she did in BVS, which is what Snyder saw here. And she held her own. She was more composed, and she became the team leader of the Justice League in essence. And then you had Jason Momoa as Aquaman. It was really great. You had a J.K. Simmons as Jim Gordon, fun little back and forth with them. Yes. Does it have problems? Yes. The Russian family is an issue. The whole ending is weird. Apocalypse, whoever his name is,
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf is not well realized, but we do get to go back to the Amazons. We get back to the old school gods. We see Green Lantern. We see all this stuff that ties in that I thought was more enjoyable to watch, and the possibilities and potential of it was more enjoyable for me overall, as opposed to what we saw in BVS.
Yeah.
When you shit out the worst interpretation of one of the greatest villains in the DC universe, I don't know what you want from me.
Lex Luthor?
Yes. Or Spastic Henry, basically, is what I was watching there, yeah. Anyway, that's my opening salvo.
Couple of points here. All right. So, first, Batman v Superman. The reason I really enjoy Batman v Superman...
And you do not, like you, in repeated viewings now, you've become a fan of the film.
I'm a fan of the film. Yeah. I really am. I understand all your points against it. I will say, though, I think they course-corrected after Batman v Superman. I think the only course correction after Man of Steel was, of course, adding Batman instead of focusing on a Man of Steel 2.
Right.
Because it was like Man of Steel did not do as well worldwide, domestic box office, all of that, right? So they added Batman. They basically went, okay, we're coming off of The Dark Knight, which is one of the highest grossing movies of all time. The Dark Knight Rises of all time. You know, it's up there. It's not the highest now, but so they went, oh, well, what can we do to ensure that we're going to have a big box office? Well, they added Batman. And not only that, they added Wonder Woman. So I'll get to that. What I enjoyed about it is that it did focus on and felt so real to me what it would be like if superheroes actually existed in this world. Like what happened after Man of Steel. part of the thing that I love and adore about Batman v Superman is that it opens from Bruce Wayne's point of view. It actually, you see what he sees. That I thought was a genius move. It kind of showed that then we're going to have a fallout from Man of Steel 2. So not only that we focused on Superman, but there was a fallout from Man of Steel 2. And it showed that DC and maybe even Zack Snyder was actually listening to some of the reactions, to your point of Man of Steel 2 having a little bit of backlash to it. I think a lot of it had to do with, sure, Zod's snapped neck, but we also had this incredible damage and like, why was Superman doing that? And, you know, that's not my Superman. He wouldn't have killed Zod. He wouldn't have like destroyed buildings everywhere, to which we both pushed back on. That was Superman's first day in the tights.
Yeah.
He really wasn't
First battle.
Superman.
Yeah.
And it was Man of Steel that set up him going, I can't do that anymore. I am going to look at life a little differently, and I have a bigger, not agenda, but I have bigger responsibilities. And I thought that while I do agree with the fact that Superman did kind of take a back seat, I do enjoy the extended edition that gives him a little bit more to do. You see Clark Kent reporting and doing what he does best. You see a little bit more from Superman. But I loved the idea of this dark universe and how Batman, Superman played off each other. Two very different ideals, two very different worldviews coming to head. And it was an extension of Man of Steel. And I thought, sure, it didn't hit all the right notes, but it was Justice League that it was supposed to be finished, right? We were supposed to have that almost like a trilogy.
Yeah.
And when we get to Justice League, all of that was thrown away. And we had no continuation of the death of Superman kind of saga. Like when they set it up, I went, interesting. We got Doomsday at the end of Batman v Superman. We have Superman dying. Ooh, are we going to get Fortress of Solitude action where there's the contingency plan where they grab Superman's body and put him in a chamber and it's that Kryptonian kind of thing where he's got to recharge and he's going to come back? Are we going to have different Supermans pop up in that? Because he was playing with that idea. Yeah. Because you can see Snyder's stamp on Justice League where a world without Superman. The big S on the bridge, you know, like that was our savior. What do we do now? What happens now? I thought we might get some of the Death of Superman. Did you like the Death of Superman comic?
Yeah, it's what I used when I beat you the first time.
That's right. Oh, I see. Son of a bitch.
If we're debating, let's debate.
Here we go.
No.
Okay.
If you remember, I came out with that because I own two versions of it. I owned and I had the newspaper out there. It was really great.
As far as heels are concerned, that was a nice move. But I thought we might get that.
Yeah.
So with Batman v Superman, what I've noticed upon revisiting the movie is that, one, the action's phenomenal. I love the action. Batman is phenomenal. I love the intrigue with Wonder Woman, Diana Prince coming in and looking for the Godslayer sword, fooling Batman and getting some of the information that she's doing. But here's the thing about Justice League. I feel like it contradicts a lot of previous movies. Like, one, Diana, Wonder Woman. All of a sudden, she's back when we're told, but I guess it happens in Batman v Superman too, but she's basically showing up again after what we learned in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, we learned it in BVS that she had been away for a long time.
Yes, we learned
didn't want to come back to the Age of Man.
It contradicts.
Right. That's BVS you're complaining about.
Yes, right.
Which is, there's the problem. But there you go,
Yeah. But what I noticed between Justice League and Batman v Superman is Batman v Superman has a specific and very specific vision. Yeah. It really does remain consistent with Zack Snyder's work. Justice League is all over the place. Justice League it's the Frankenstein's monster. And come on, mustache gaze.
BVS is all over the place. All of a sudden, we have a stupid Batman who can't. He's easily manipulated by his enemies. He's easily
what do you mean by
because
that?
if we have an older Batman, right? He's been through the wars. He lost Jason Todd from what we saw in the Joker outfit.
I know. And have they even confirmed that?
Well, either way, it's there. So if the outfit's there, you've got to throw that into the mythology. So if this is an older Batman.
Yes,
who
it
has
is.
been through the battles.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he's a guy who brands criminals. What kind of Batman is this? This is not Batman. This is a guy who's so angry. He kills people.
That's where the Dark Knight comes in, I think.
Well, see, but that's you putting that in there. And that's the thing that I think is the problem
But that's
with
what
the film.
Snyder read at Comic-Con. He read that.
No, it wasn't. It was Harry Lennox.
Oh, Harry
Yeah,
Lennox.
Harry Lennox did a great job reading him.
He read that, but that was Snyder's influence.
Right,
is
but
my
that's the
point.
Dark Knight Returns. And even in
Dark
the Dark
Knight
Knight Returns, he doesn't brand criminals. He breaks that gun, says this is the tool of the enemy. He is not about murder. He is still a slave to it, so much that the Joker has to kill himself in Dark Knight Returns because Batman still can't fucking do it. And even when he kills all those people in Tunnel of Love. And that's what I thought was missing, is this Batman that they showed us in Batman. And I liked Ben Affleck's interpretation. I mean, that fight scene in the warehouse is phenomenal. That is old school Batman, gray Batman with the short ears and the big fat. That's Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Oh, yeah, that is Dark Knight
I
Returns.
love that. But how does he not know that Clark Kent's mother is Martha? Why is he having these dream sequences, all these stuff that he's got going on in his head? And when he sees that Zod and Superman have done this, the Batman I know, Bruce Wayne, he would go to Kal-El and be like, hey, you're new at this. Let me teach you. Give me the space. This whole film could have been solved with a conversation. That's my problem with BVS. And this is an older, wiser Batman, supposedly, who's been through the wars, like I said, who's lost people in these battles.
Right.
So his first reaction wouldn't be to hate Superman. He's a new superhero who's just shown up. Yes, be afraid as a human, but Batman, if you know Batman, has fought gods, has fought everybody there is, especially if you show him as an older Batman. So why would his first reaction be to hate Superman, go after create a kryptonite spear? So they shoved in Dark Knight Returns, they shoved in Death of Superman into a movie and didn't make it cohesive. And it's insulting to both comic books and insulting to the characters, in my opinion.
Well,
and Lois needs to be saved throughout the whole movie. She does not stand on her own like she does in Man of Steel.
The thing about Batman, though, that I got from Batman v Superman was that he wasn't as much as like, I hate you immediately. It's that the power he has, he's worried that he doesn't trust him. He doesn't trust that he's going to not just, and that to me is classic Batman, is that, and I wish they would do this from some of the comic book sourcing, like the contingency plan. It's kind of there at the end with the big battle.
Right.
But that he wouldn't have all the contingency plans like he had in like some of the comic books.
Right.
That he would figure out his name. Yeah. That he would figure out that Martha
He's
was
the
his
world's
mother.
greatest detective, isn't he?
Listen, in all of these movies,
just
Batman is. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, but it works better in the Nolan movies than it does in these movies.
Yes, but in
he's
all these
younger.
movies, he hasn't really shown any world's greatest detective skills. And I hated in Justice League that they tried to do that by like, all of a sudden he can find these parademons and he can know that everything about it. And it's always like, to the audience, like, remember how I'm world's greatest detectives? There it is. Same with Justice League. And remember how you liked Donner's Superman? Well, now I'm back, baby. And it's like, well, for me, I didn't really want that because I have Donner's Superman.
Right.
What Snyder introduced in Man of Steel is a Superman that I could get behind. Like real world.
Me too.
This is what you do. Oh yeah, our love of Man of Steel is now legendary. But it's that pushing of that mythology that in Batman v Superman, okay, he's going to try to become the man that his father wanted him to be.
Right.
In Man of Steel.
Right.
He's going to go the great Mexico City kind of thing with the Day of the Dead, him saving and everybody touching him, of course, pulling the big tanker, he's doing all these things. And the running through line of this is like the world doesn't trust him.
Right.
And so when we get to Justice League, all of a sudden the world loves him and they miss him and he died and we miss him. And I'm like, wait a minute. In Batman v Superman, the filmmaker told me, and from all the information in this movie is telling me that people were afraid of him, they don't trust him. Come to the Senate, tell us you're not a crazy person.
Right.
We want to try to essentially try to govern you. And great scene at the end of Man of Steel. If you want to know where I hang my cape, no, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
I work for nobody. I'm American. I'm from Kansas. You can't get more American than that.
Right.
So Batman v Superman was a full-on extension of the events set up in Man of Steel. Yes, adding Batman. Yes, adding Wonder Woman and setting up essentially Justice League, which was in itself a that was a mistake.
But the logic,
it was hard.
The logic makes no sense, though, right? Because like if he's coming at the end of Man of Steel, the army knows who he is. He has saved the world by killing Zod,
Right.
doing what needs to be done. So his punishment is to have Batman come after him. The whole movie is in the second movie. That makes no sense. That's my issue with this. Is they took a beautiful Superman story from Man of Steel and he's had resolution at the end. He says, the S stands for hope. He said, my dad thought that they wouldn't trust me, they wouldn't believe in me. Then he saves the world, wins over the military. I'm sure there were plenty of cameras covering it. We saw CNN, all those people covering the stuff in Man of Steel. So people know this man is a hero. So why would Batman, Bruce Wayne, all of a sudden, in some pig-headed desire to have a battle with Clark Kent, try to hunt him down and go get him and get suckered into this whole situation and then turn on Martha? I don't care what the fans say. I don't give a fuck what logic they give me. That Martha moment is a piece of shit, and it's terrible. It shits on both those characters because Batman would know his mother is Martha. Batman is not a guy who runs into battle without knowledge, without some sort of information, without a military tactic. And we see this in the battle when he fights Superman. He has all these things, which is all out of Dark Knight Returns when they have that final battle. But that's earned in that graphic novel. The final battle here is not earned. He's only fighting from fear. That's it. He's not fighting like with Superman in Dark Knight Returns when he fights. It's about a difference in philosophy and Superman being controlled by the government and the president and
that's
him
the
not
point.
wanting to come out of retirement.
And I can see that spinning the other way because of, I know that we're jumping off of the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel, but I also know that, yes, Superman wasn't going to be a government lackey.
Yeah.
Right? That was in the graphic novel.
Yeah.
Here, I think Batman was scared, which is a little different. And scared in that he sees this great power out there, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. He doesn't trust him. Even it's Batman.
Yeah.
He's not going to care what everybody's saying
Right.
or what he reads in the headlines. He's got to figure it out for himself, right? So I think that's what the through line for him was, as foggy and murky as it is. Because listen, both of these movies did not land perfectly with some of our storytelling.
Thoroughly
elements.
agree with that. Thoroughly agree
And
with
that's, I mean, there are things in Batman v Superman, like Martha, that I too go, okay, that is not enough to hold his arm from stabbing him through the heart with a kryptonite spear.
He wants to kill Superman.
He wants to kill Superman.
He wants to kill
He had
Superman.
him right there.
Why? Because he blew some buildings up? Like, come on. Batman, I'm sure, has done worse damage.
I never got that from that movie. I got that Batman wanted to maintain control of a situation, and when the arrival of a god happens and buildings fall, he went, I have to figure out everything about this man as best as possible so that I can almost, like I said with the contingency plan in those comics, essentially, this is him learning about Superman to come up with that contingency plan.
So then Batman's a dick. Because
Batman's a dick.
Batman's a dick, but not in a dick in a good way, like we've seen him in the Nolan movies.
Right.
He's a dick, or even in the Michael Keaton Batman.
And then completely opposite. Then all of a sudden he's cracking jokes in Justice League. He's like, there's a lot of inconsistencies in both movies. Sure.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
It's when we get to Justice League where I start to see there's there's Snyder and there's Joss Whedon. And it was like, the humor was like, Snyder? Whedon.
Yeah.
Like, those kind of things just kept throwing me. And then the differences of even bringing in Danny Elfman. Now, people might go crazy over this, but introducing Williams' score, introducing Elfman's score for the Batman, great. I love that idea. But it's like, where was our wonderful, the Hope music from Hans Zimmer?
The Hans Zimmer stuff,
Nowhere near Justice League.
Yeah.
It just like, see ya.
Yeah.
What are you, Marvel? And you just change up composers every movie? No. What was great was you had some semblance of some thematic coherency by having the Hope theme, which I call it that. The actual title is eluding me right now.
Yeah.
But to have that music, oh man, and we both love that music.
Yeah, we do.
So I was wondering why they did that. Why did they, again, it's because Batman v Superman didn't do well with fans and critics. And so the course correction of Justice League is, for me, the biggest blunder on their part.
Yeah, but we don't even need to have a course correction if they get it right in BVS. And that's what I'm getting at. I mean, the whole reason Justice League even exists the way it does is because they saw Snyder going down this dark path that he did in BVS. And like, well, it worked in Man of Steel, even though some people didn't like it. And a lot of Superman hardcore fans were upset with how he changed Superman. But then he goes into Batman versus Superman or v Superman and makes it even worse, makes it even darker, makes Superman like even less willing to help people, questioning himself, questioning his place in society.
I love that.
And then they brought it into, but then why are we ending on a positive note? The same thing happens with Spider-Man. Sometimes the Tobey Maguire, that frustrated me. Like, if you have a resolution at the end of the movie, you have a resolution. You don't get to bring angst right at the beginning of the next movie. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't want that shit. Like, you go and have the angst happen in the middle of the movie, so then you have conflict. What, first act, second act, third act, right? First act is this, but then something happens that causes conflict. Second act is you negotiating the conflict. Third act is you resolving the conflict. And that's what I felt like was missing with this BVS stuff, because it was all kind of shoehorned in and shoved in, and they were trying to make it work. And I would argue, Reilly, that this is as much of a Frankenstein movie, but under one director, as Justice League. You claim Justice League did, which I totally agree. It is kind of a Frankenstein movie, obviously, with two directors. But BVS is too, because they're shoving in Death of Superman and Dark Knight Returns and what they had brought over from Man of Steel, trying to shove this all together, and it doesn't work.
But I thought it was more consistent, and it works for me in that I wouldn't call him Superman, that is, that he still doesn't know his place in the world. I mean, he doesn't.
Or he's still questioning things with Lois the whole time.
And that's what I love, because that made him human for me. That made him more grounded. That was Clark.
Yeah.
Clark is still going to, with the woman he loves, he's going to question his place in this world.
Right.
And continue to do that, which is a theme carried over from Man of Steel, but on a bigger stage now. Yeah. In the biggest of stages. Him flying and saving people on a flood. Him taking the oil tanker. Him going to Mexico City in the Day of the Dead. All that kind of stuff is him. What's Superman's place in this world?
Right.
And he doesn't seem happy doing it.
Yeah.
At one point. I get it. But at least it's consistent with Man of Steel, in my mind. Now, we didn't get a lot more than that, unless you go to the extended edition, which I enjoy. I love that he went and basically saves Lois at the beginning of the movie, that she's got Superman on speed dial just by...
Yeah,
and then he's there. But, he can hear things. See, he's Superman, right?
Yeah.
That I enjoyed. That I really enjoyed, and felt like there was more cohesion of a character. When you look at Batman, I felt more grounded. I felt more interested in him. I didn't, and I know this is a Batman thing for some people, that Batman doesn't kill.
Yeah.
And this goes to the tone of Snyder in a lot of this. I love that it was dark. I love that it actually was so different from Marvel.
Yeah.
I know that that might have been what they were going for, to try to make them stand out from the pack.
Yeah.
That, to me, is why I love Batman v Superman so much, and some Man of Steel as well. But it was so dark. It just felt like it was more realistic. It was more down and dirty. And that's why I love Batman v Superman a lot, is that tone, which a lot of people don't like.
Yeah, look, I would have been fine with it. I loved Man of Steel because of some of the darkness in there. I would have loved to have seen a Batman vs. Superman film that was dark. It just didn't feel real to me. Dark Knight Returns is fucking dark. The Dark Knight is fucking dark.
Oh, yeah.
And Dark Knight Rises is dark. Those are dark. All around, those are dark. Yeah. That's a dark trilogy from beginning to end.
Batman has always been dark.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's why I'm like, if he kills somebody...
Right, but then what's the point? What's the thing? Because Batman kills all through BVS.
Oh, yeah, he
So
does.
Superman kills, but it's an issue. Batman kills, it's okay. And my problem here also, if you look at the way they create the Justice League in BVS, Lex Luthor is the one that comes up with all the names and the logos for these motherfuckers. So to me, I'm like, what are you talking about? You're handing over the creation of the greatest league, and I would put them over Avengers and X-Men and any other team. The Justice League is my team. It's my favorite team. Yes,
my favorite team too.
I think anybody who reads comics can say the Justice League is not the number one league team in any comic brand.
Yeah.
It is number one. You're going to leave that that to Lex Luthor to create, and then you have the Jesse Eisenberg Lex, which was ridiculous. And the rumors I heard was he had prepared to play Riddler, and then they changed their minds mid-course because who they wanted to play Luthor didn't want to take the job or didn't want to do it or couldn't do it because of scheduling. So then they asked Jesse to do it, and Jesse said, well, I already prepared Riddler, so I'm going to play him like this. And
God,
Zach
I
went
love
along
that
with it.
rumor so much, and I hope it's not true.
Well, I know it's scary to believe it, but it sounds like it could be true because it certainly feels like that's what he's doing through the whole movie is playing the Riddler. The questions, the dialogue, the weird laughing moments, the enjoyment he's getting from getting beat up. That's so weird to me, and all of it is not Luthor at all. And I don't need the Gene Hackman Luthor. But that Luthor we saw, the Michael Rosenbaum Luthor in Smallville is great. The Luthor we see in the animated series is fantastic. Any of those Luthors would have worked for me overall. And I don't know what they would have needed to do to get Bryan Cranston, but they should have backed up a Brinks truck to his house and told him whatever you want, sign the check. Like a blank check.
I can't argue with that.
That's a better Luthor.
And for the listeners at home, this is not going to be movie fights a la our Screen Junkies fans, so there's no points here. I'm more interested in a discussion to also mine some of the stuff that you liked in Batman v Superman.
Yes.
And vice versa, some of the things that I liked with Justice League. But we're off to a great start right now. Let me go there.
Sure.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Whoa, what if he was playing the fucking the Riddler?
He'd be great as the Riddler. My God,
great.
If someone could do gifs of him with the Riddler costume, it'd be great.
I heard that it was like going to be a reveal later that he was going to be like
The son,
yeah, and that the real Lex Luthor was going to step forward. Now, if I could have my druthers, I'd go back and do that.
Yeah,
I would.
Me too.
Because I'm with you.
Like that grandma's piss stuff was ridiculous.
Lex Luthor, I think, I'm all for swinging for the fences.
Right.
But there's a reason why they're called strikeouts as well.
Yeah.
And I think that swing for the fence and whiff is whiff and whiff. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand his motivations. I didn't understand why he was the way he was. This weird thing. The Jolly Ranchers kiss my ass. What are you doing?
Right.
I don't understand that. But he was less a part about the movie and more about Superman and Batman. But
he is the impetus for the movie because he's the reason they fight.
Well, obviously he has a flair for branding.
Yeah, it's true. And he steals.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
He steals Martha and puts her in danger. And man, that's some dark shit. Like the Martha thing looked like some out of Silence of the Lambs. It was way too far to go. And having her held that way.
Movie. That's what I love, though.
Yeah, okay, but
that's what I love. And I love the darkness of Batman v Superman. I really do. I really wanted that. I wanted to be down and dirty. I wanted Batman. I know people might be really upset with me.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Batman killing. I would have loved some kind of resolution where he's like, I can't do this.
Right.
I can't kill because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, that's the thing. And
they touched on it.
If you destroy Batman's credo, then what is he? That's the thing. That's the thing that makes us love Batman so much. Is as fucked up as his beginning was with the death of his parents, with everything he went through. If you're still gonna tell me that he's still going to kill arbitrarily depending on the level of villain that you are, then you're no longer Batman. You're something else. And you can't be called Batman because to me, that's not the... And that's what I get back to my basic point of this, Mark, is I feel like they took this film and insulted both characters. And that's BVS, insulted both characters. I will say, I want to defend Justice League, but the reason I enjoy Justice League is because of the chemistry between the actors on the Justice League. When they have when they have their scenes together, I sense genuine chemistry between them when they're there. When Bruce calls out Diana about Steve Trevor, and they have that, like they all gang up against Bruce.
Great moment.
And that totally works. That you see that you can see that happen in comics because that's Bruce. That's Bruce thing is to be the asshole in the room sometimes when nobody wants to be the asshole because he has to do the hard work sometimes of that and making people see that it's not all fucking sunshine and rainbows in the world. There's more to it. And so I like that. I know the grave digging scene freaks a lot of people out. I understand that's weird, but I enjoy that.
It's so weird.
I know. But I like the chemistry.
Wait, is Flash and Cyborg really doing a great?
And why are they going so slow if one is an android and one's a speed demon? Like they would dig through it really quickly.
I know.
So yeah, all of them. But I like Ezra Miller as Flash. I did like to a degree Gal Gadot. I liked her better in Wonder Woman than I do in this film, but certainly like her better in this film than BVS. I thought they
really.
I hated her in BVS. Hated her in BVS.
But she was so cool.
She was just being used as a sex object for most of the movie until she finally dials in and fights. That bothered me.
I can't argue with some of the shots because that is Snyder and classic Snyder.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't want that because
There is no butt shots of Diana with form-fitting underwear in Wonder Woman. There's none. There is in BVS. There is in Justice League, which is not a surprise by Snyder, right? Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm talking about character. So for her to show up at that great gala and basically walk through and meet Bruce and talk to him a little bit and then figure out that everything's downstairs, I'm going to go and I'm going to steal Batman's own whatever, like flash drive that's getting all this stuff.
Why is she getting involved if she said she wasn't going to be involved? Reilly, what's the logic if she says, I retired from the Age of Man, I was not going to come back? The only reason it comes back is because the battle happens with...
Why do you think she got involved?
What?
She doesn't want that picture out there.
Right, but
she needs that picture.
But she also got the information about the Justice League from there on that disc as well.
Quite by accident. Because she went after that picture so she could remain hidden.
Right.
That's the whole point. Plus, her love, Steve Trevor's in there.
Yeah.
She wants that. She gets it.
Right.
And then that's when she discovers there's others. So I see the progression of her arc starting to take shape in Batman v Superman that plays out later on Justice League when they have to go recruit. And thankfully, Bruce joins her on that mission because he finally has a change of heart once he hears the name of his mother.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's the thing.
I love that we're debating and I'm picking Batman v Superman, but I'm still throwing jabs at it because that's what this is.
Well, right. And I can jab Justice League to pieces as well, of course. But but
that's a great point,
Rocha. A more enjoyable experience. Yeah.
Enjoyable experience.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it
At the end of the day, I enjoy the hell out of Batman v Superman more than I do Justice League.
I watch Batman v Superman a lot.
Do you really?
I do. And the fans may be shocked to hear this because I'm bashing it so much. I watch it for the potential that could have been. And it frustrates me. I remember when I was down in Miami interviewing The Rock for Baywatch,
right? Yeah.
I think it was. It was on. And I remember the Wizards were playing the Celtics, and it was on HBO. And I was flipping back and forth, but I found myself watching more BVS than I was the playoff game because
I gotcha. Then all right, you enjoyed it more than the playoffs.
There it is. There's the winner. But no, because I just kept watching. Going, God, how did they not know the massive mistakes they were making throughout this whole movie? And that's what it's like a train or a car accident. You just have to look at the insanity of it and go, what were they thinking? Why couldn't they figure that out? Why did they think this was the right thing to put out there? I mean, all over it, I'm just like, what? This makes no sense. The whole time you're just like, Batman, just fucking talk to him. Just fucking talk to him. It's not believable, their conflict. And that's the main issue in any movie is the conflict believable?
Yeah.
And if it isn't, then I can't go with you on the film.
I definitely, I mean, I agree with a lot of that because character and character motivation, through lines, 3-act structures, all this kind of stuff that I love for screenwriting. You're right. Like some of Batman's motivations was very muddled because it was like, I get that you can see him running into falling buildings because in that instant, the beginning of the movie, the filmmaker is essentially telling me that, okay, have you read Save the Cat?
Yeah.
The screenwriting?
Yeah.
So there's
a good book.
Great book on screenwriting. Guys out there, you know Reilly loves his screenwriting. Save the Cat. It basically means that a hero... And there's versions of this. The beginning of Batman v Superman is Batman saving the cat. Okay? Now, he is running into a building to save people.
Right.
So, you know, it's a comparison to say, because in the book, it basically says it better than I am doing right now, is that when somebody witnesses either, whether it's a cat or a dog, and being like, I'm going to grab that cat from the tree and hand him off to the owner, the audience immediately goes, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when the guy kicks the dog, well, that's the villain. Right? So very black and white kind of stuff. So I love that Snyder sets up the immediate friction between ideals. Him running into the buildings to save somebody when God, who came from another planet, is not even worried about that.
Yeah.
Right? He's just worried about fighting this guy. So that was great for me. And that motivation rang true, that then he would put all of his focus and hate this being.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what Perry White said. Perry White in Batman v Superman, or Man of Steel, I should say, was like, do you realize what the world would do if somebody like this existed? This, I feel, is a accurate representation of that, is that There would be people that would be, oh my God, it's a god. There would be people that would fear him. There would be people that believe in life and extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
And that there would be people like Batman that would be like, that scares the shit out of me because of what I saw in Metropolis, because of the damage caused. I need to go now. I hate him for that.
Yeah.
I even go a little step further, and this might be looking way too much into this, but Batman realizing that he is no longer the guy, is that there's somebody so much more powerful than him, and that he wants to tear it down almost. But really, I think it's really him wanting to make sure he knows everything about this guy so that he can take him down and prevent a Metropolis from happening again.
Right, and that becomes pugnacious in my mind when I'm watching this. And you see, and even Alfred says to him, hey, brother, this is not our enemy. What are you doing? This is not the right thing. This makes no sense.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. That's what bothers me is he doesn't listen in a way that makes sense. He doesn't listen because he's pig-headed. Batman's been stubborn. He's been strong. But he's never been pig-headed to the point where it's stupid. And I think that's what at least in the movies, I've never seen that necessarily in a good movie about Batman, that he's been that way. He's always the smartest person in the room. He always knows the right reaction to things. That's why he, in the comics, leads so many different teams. I mean, he in Justice League Dark, he has those moments where he's kind of leading the team a little bit in certain moments when he's there. So even the Justice League International ones, the funny ones from J.M. DeMatteis, he's almost a reluctant leader of these goofy Justice League characters, but you still have to have Batman to be the leader because he's the stabilizing force. To have him be this overreactionary person who does the things that he's doing and threatens the life of a person without understanding this person. And yeah, I get your point that he wants to know everything, but he does no detective work to find out about this person. It's just operating from a place of fear the whole time and lures him into a battle. And that's frustrating to me because there's no logical sense for this battle at all. This is a guy who's completely misunderstood the situation, for 2 hours.
But he did do the research. He did look and find out that the kryptonite will do this.
Right.
It connects it to Lex Luthor and wait.
He doesn't do the research to find out who this person is. He finds out how to beat this person, but he doesn't know who this person is. He doesn't know anything about Krypton. Doesn't know anything about this person and his family. Lois Lane found him in 30 minutes in Man of Steel. So if Lois Lane, who is an intrepid reporter and a good reporter, I'm not going to bash that, but if you're the world's greatest detective, you certainly can do better than a reporter who is limited by sources and access to what you can. I'm sure Batman trolls the dark web and would have found out all this stuff about Pete Ross and everybody else involved with Superman. So that's the thing that I come back to is I think your theory makes sense if he had shown things that he was doing to understand the man. He just found things to beat the man, and I think there's a difference in there.
I guess he could have maybe. I've always wanted a Batman Superman movie, whatever it may be.
And that's what I thought we were getting.
Well, yeah, but to this, and I'm going to lighten it up a bit.
Yeah.
Where when Clark Kent finally meets Bruce Wayne, and he's like, hey, I'm Clark Kent. Like, Batman to me has always been so good. He was like, hi, Clark Kent. I was like, how you doing, Superman? He just
like Sherlock Holmes. Like,
he just
Mind Palace.
Get rid of your fucking glasses. I can see through that. Like that kind of thing, right? That's the Batman we know.
Yeah.
But for many, it's like, so in the meeting where Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent, do they actually meet?
Yeah, in the party.
They shake, yes.
At the party, yeah.
That there wouldn't be a little bit more intrigue with Batman, but then again, aside from images, and I'm just trying to think here, what would Batman? He would get the newspaper clippings. He'd have all the footage in his Batcave. He could probably focus in on an image here and just enhance.
Right.
Who is that?
Right.
Right.
And that's what he does in Justice League, right? Like you said, they try to retcon that a little bit in Justice League, make him a detective.
That was my biggest.
Find everybody.
Justice League retconned so much. I felt like because it was so overly reactionary.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So here we have worldwide $873 million it made.
For BVS or Justice League?
For BVS.
Yeah, Justice League was a bomb.
Yeah. Justice League, 657.924. Oh, it went up, I wonder. It feels like it went up. I wonder if that's...
That's a positive. You feel like it went up.
Blu-rays.
Yeah.
But, so, yes, we know Justice League bombed in comparison to the other movies. But I got to tell you, dude, I'm looking at these two numbers. It's not too off.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman made more. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Wonder Woman destroyed him.
So I hate the fact that they were so overly reactionary to this gross.
Right. Well, look, they were overly reactionary to Man of Steel. Then they overreacted to BVS. So to me, these
then Wonder
two
Woman,
films,
they went,
yeah, exactly, because they didn't have anything to do with that. And they were just like, let Patty Jenkins do her thing.
and then by that time they're already on Snyder's case and looking at. I mean, so the rumors go.
Do you think? Now, let's be honest. Yeah. Like, are you one of those people that's in the Snyder camp that you would want to see a Snyder cut? To let the author finish his novel?
I would love it. Yes.
Yeah.
I would love a Snyder cut. I'm not. So yes, I am in that camp, but I am outside the camp that believes there is actually one that can be looked at as being anything that we could get a different version of what we saw in theaters.
Right.
Meaning, there might be a Snyder cut. God, and people push back on this so much online.
Right.
I mean, there are people out there. I'm gonna rant a little bit.
Please go ahead.
You motherfuckers with this Snyder cut.
I brought it up to find resolution. But,
but
no,
I get
there's
it.
a rant here.
I mean,
that's coming.
the long and the short of it is, yes, I would want to see a Snyder cut to see what his actual vision for Justice League is. But in what I feel about the Snyder cut is that there will probably be a lot of green screens, then some finished effects, then some unedited footage, then a placeholder, then a title card that goes, effects not done. Then another thing, and maybe or maybe not done. But there was some sort of guy out there that said he worked on the storyboard. And he said, oh, there is a Snyder cut. And so when the Wall Street Journal says, guys, there's not a Snyder cut out there, and I go on to do news with Jeff Snyder and myself, and I basically use the years of study that I've done, the years of being a part of this business, the many years of writing as a screenwriter, and also as a filmmaker, having made a number of short films, including a feature-length film, that I can look at it and go, well, Snyder was fired, so the rumor goes, or let go, and Joss Whedon came in, and the report said he rewrote a number of things and then shot a number of things. Well, that means that there was footage that they didn't like. But I personally don't think he got to finish all of that footage, right? So when you motherfuckers come at me saying, it does exist, and then fuck you, I feel like you are taking only this online conspiracy thing, and you're taking it as absolute fact, and you're so damn fucking stubborn that you would much rather yell at me, create videos. Oh, 'cause these fucking guys created this video of Snyder and me, Jeff Snyder and me, doing the news, and some guy cuts in all this like, yep, it's not there, but and then it shows like a guy saying, no, there was the Snyder cut, and this isn't. I mean, you're like those religious Superman zealots in the Dark Side Flash in Batman v Superman, where you're wearing you might as well just put Snyder, a picture of his face on you, and worship to his altar. I don't understand why you have to then be toxic and yell and scream and discount my opinion on something when, I'm sorry, fanboy, I know more than you do in this particular moment. At least in the history of what I've been doing with my life as a filmmaker, as a writer, and working in this. Now, I'm freely going to admit that there could be a cut. But I don't. Again, and I want your opinion on this, Rocha. This took a dark turn.
No, it's okay. That's a good BVS fan.
Yeah. I freely admit that there could be a cut.
Sure.
But again, unassembled, incomplete.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
No, I don't either.
If you're going to release a Snyder cut, you better bring him back with open arms. Give him all the money he wants to finish the damn movie, because he probably shot all the footage that he needed to shoot. I have a really good friend of mine. Well, not really. She's a friend of mine. She's a friend of a friend. She's a friend of a really good friend. We've had numerous conversations. She knows Kieran Hines, and she said he stayed at her place whenever they shot Justice League.
Oh, nice.
And they rewrote his dialogue 3 times.
Wow.
Which means they shot the first thing, Snyder, and then maybe they made notes and then brought him back again to shoot thing. And then when they let go of Snyder, they brought back Whedon to rewrite something. And Whedon's is most of what's in the film, that dialogue. And he said that dialogue, the Whedon dialogue, was better than anything he did with the Snyder dialogue. So these people clamoring for a Snyder cut may be sorely disappointed you may end up hating it even more than you did BVS. Like people like me who love Man of Steel but hated BVS might hate his version of Justice League even more. And you hear these things, and Snyder in essence gets a little bit of a free pass here, which I think he hasn't earned. This idea that he gets to go on this social media site and then respond to people as if he's been victimized, as if he did nothing wrong, as if he, all this kind of stuff. It really bothers me because yes, of course, what happened to his daughter is a terrible tragedy. Having gone through my own issues with suicide stuff, like I get that. Absolutely. I told my heart goes out to his family.
Yeah.
But that is separate from his professional life. In this way, I judge him from his professional life by what he does professionally, right? I judge him by personal life by what he does personally.
Yeah.
So watching his work, you saw in BVS, I felt that he was losing the plot, so the Snyder cut may be even worse. And the fact that he came out and said there was 5 films, that he had a 5-film arc for Superman, how many more desperate situations were you going to put Henry Cavill in before you finally brought him back to the Richard Donner Superman? That worries me.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I mean, I really do. I think that, with this, what is it, Vero?
Yeah, the Vero thing that he uses. Yeah.
Yeah, it just because it's almost like every once in a while, I think of like the hornet's nest we found in the corner near my grandmother's patio at the house. Is that one, we had a bunch of kids around, and it wasn't a hornet's nest fully formed. It was this hornet that was like, building it, and everybody was there was like, let's just let him do his thing. Okay. And then once everybody leaves, then we'll take care of it.
Right.
And it was like Snyder going, no, let's do it now. He'll drop something on Vero, and those hornets start going again, and they don't care who they're stinging. Because it's like, if you're in the way and say, in a rational way, like, hey, I don't think the Snyder cut is what you think it is.
Right.
And then, I would have to mute and block people from the absolute garbage comments coming from them about like I'd much rather drop a bomb on you and watch you die than listen to your that's terrible. I've gotten horrible comments from DC fans, and I'm like, again, which is why I started the very first Reilly Roundtable. I talked about the Star Wars toxicity. When I brought you on with DC, I wanted to examine the fact that we were yelled at, and that I got a bomb comment.
That people were assuming these things about us because we had some criticism of DC films.
Without actually doing a little bit of research to realize, oh, this guy not only has a Superman avatar in his Twitter account, but also loves Man of Steel, loves Wonder Woman, loves and starting to love Batman v Superman despite its flaws. That it's like, oh no, I must be a DC hater and a Marvel Disney shill. And there's just zero communication, zero thought, and it's just yell, scream, gonna throw in a death threat in there to make myself that douchiest of douches online.
And that's the thing, Mark, and that's the irony of this whole situation is these people assume shit about you that they would never love to have assumed about them.
Right?
If we go and just go, oh, DC fans all suck. Generalize that, you all would be so effing pissed about that, right? So if you do that to us simply because we have a difference of opinion with you about a movie or about a couple of movies or 3 movies in a franchise or in a comic brand, then you're doing the same thing to us that you would not have done to you.
Right.
All of us in this sphere started out as fans. We didn't get into this to yell to the high heavens for attention. Most of us, and most of the people I think I know here at Collider, got into it because we love doing this, talking about movies, exploring stuff, doing the sports stuff. All that we get into it because we love it. And so when you go and attack us and threaten my man Reilly's life or say horrible shit or attack us personally,
I'm sure you've gotten it too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but I train my fans not to do that. Because I go after them.
And it's again,
it's not even a question for me.
Remember when I referenced the Snyder video that we did the news about the Snyder cut not being there? That's when it came.
Right.
And I realized I was like, this person doesn't even follow me.
Yeah.
So SEO did its job,
right?
And basically went on the internet, and somebody watched it and just went just came after me, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to block some people because uncalled for.
I mute and block fuckers all the time.
Oh yeah,
I don't have a problem with it,
and I don't either. And that's exactly what I did.
I could care less.
Because in this conversation, although fun and not even heated, just like fun.
Yes,
yelling back and forth. Whatever.
Debate as it should be.
Yeah. It comes because we love the property.
Of course.
It comes because we love the actors.
We love the characters.
We love the characters
Yeah.
especially. And so it's not yelling and screaming. It's like we're bringing up facts.
Yeah.
We're bringing up personal facts.
Right.
Like when you bring up just like, you don't know what you're talking about or fuck you or like I always say it's like
those are conversation enders, man.
Yeah.
They're not conversation starters. They're not constructive conversations you can have. I think both of us enjoy speaking with a fan who's actually having an intelligent conversation with you about the film.
Yes.
When they start with the whole thing of like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, you're an idiot or you're dumb or what's wrong with you, those kinds of things, then we're not going in the direction towards a healthy conversation. Right? I shouldn't have to work through your anger to get you to understand me. You tweeted me. You reached out to me. Why the fuck do I have to do the work to understand you? That's ridiculous.
Oh, hold on. Let me look through your mother's a whore and F you and I hope you
Let me-
die comment.
Let me find the heart of you. Yeah.
to get to the fact that you really enjoy the DC universe.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest, that's a huge issue for social media right now. We've talked about this. We talked about the tribalism that can happen.
Sure,
because
sure.
I've been using tribalism a lot.
It's a fair thing to use. It's true.
And it's just this like gang up attitude. Like if one person says one thing you don't like, quote tweet it, tag them, whatever, and then you bring in your buddies who want, because y'all had a chat room maybe at one point where you said, well, we love it. I'm going to go after anyone that doesn't like. I don't know what they do, but it's not fair. I wish I implore everybody. And you talk about your followers and the people that enjoy what you do, and same here. Don't come at you with that bullshit.
Yeah, they don't.
Neither do
or
I.
they're off my follow.
They know.
they've
They
become muted or
know.
blocked.
I remember my very first Reilly Roundtable. I focused in on the Disney shill, the toxicity of Star Wars fans, the Kelly Marie Tran stuff, and all this kind of stuff. And I basically said, if you want to fucking come at me from saying what I have to say, and if you come at me with anything other than respect and or inciting a conversation, I am out of here.
Yeah.
I am blocking your ass. I'm doing whatever it needs to be done to get you out of my timeline, to get you off of this thing that I go on. Right. And I had people come in and Reilly, I really disagreed with what you were saying, but I want to be, positive and this and that. I had people that listened and came at me and said, listen, let's talk. And I loved that, and I enjoyed that. But with DC, and we're going to start wrapping this up here because this was a great conversation.
We have other responsibilities.
We have other responsibilities for sure. With the DC stuff, right now it's a TBD. We got Aquaman coming out in December. Wonder Woman 1984 is filming right now. Hans Zimmer, coming back, to score Wonder Woman 1984.
I'm so excited for this.
I am so excited about this. So I'm basically now turning on a dime to explore and to explore, sure, to illuminate and say that the love is there for this whole thing. Yeah, I can't wait for Aquaman. Wonder Woman 1984 now with Hans Zimmer coming in, the originator of the Wonder Woman theme. I love. I just wish that Rupert Gregson Williams was going to do a little bit of work on this, because No Man's Land, that suite,
it's incredible.
I put it on all the time. That Wonder Woman theme. It's like you get the Wonder Woman theme in there. But so, what are you most looking forward to, Rocha, as we wrap this up in the DC universe that's only on the slate right now? So you get your Aquaman, your Shazam, or your Wonder Woman 1984. What are out of those three? What's your number one that you're looking forward to?
Shazam is I champion. I champion.
And I loved that trailer.
It was a great trailer.
I loved that trailer.
I champion the lesser popular characters in the DC universe all the time.
Yeah.
Green Arrow doesn't get enough. I know Arrow has the TV show, but the movie version of Green Arrow hasn't been done. Yeah. Green Lantern, the movie version that isn't the Ryan Reynolds one, needs to be championed. I would love a Hawkman movie, a Hawker Martian Man. There's so much in Martian Manhunter
is what I want.
Explore. Yeah.
I got into a run of Martian Manhunter where I'm just like, I just got in a comic book kick like years ago that I can't do much anymore because of work and finances and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I read this line of Martian Manhunter and I'm like, Where is he in Justice League? Man?
Exactly.
He's a Justice League member.
He's fantastic, and he suffers the same angst that that Batman suffers with the loss of his entire planet.
I know, right?
Yeah. So those are those kinds of things that are in there. But Shazam is the one. I mean, you could go Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Doctor Fate. All those things are there. But Shazam is the one that I'm most looking for. Wonder Woman 1984, absolutely off the charts. But that's already a proven commodity. And Aquaman, I saw those extra 4 minutes at Hall H. I have nothing but confidence in that movie. So I'm looking forward to it, but I already know it's going to be great.
Yeah.
This Shazam is the one that I want to be good so badly because I love this character so much. He is Earth's mightiest mortal, which means no one else can beat him but Superman. And that tells you that he's gotten the short end of the stick because he isn't quite have that character that people gravitated to like the other characters in the Justice League or the DC universe. And I think Shazam deserves his just desserts. He's fantastic as a character in Kingdom Come, the graphic novel. And I watched the old school 1970s show, and so I want to see them do it right and looks in the right hands. And Zachary Levi looks fantastic as Shazam / Billy Batson, and so I'm down. I hope it's the right thing, and that's the one I'm most looking forward to.
I love it. I love your passion for Shazam, everything that you just said, and based on the trailers, I'm really excited. I honestly don't know. I go back and forth every day. Wonder Woman, proven commodity. Sure, I can't wait for that. Patty Jenkins back. Team is back. Hans Zimmer's back now.
Yeah.
With Aquaman, I go James Wan.
Yeah.
I love my James Wan, man. Yeah. He gave me one of my favorite scary movies in The Conjuring. He blew me away when I saw that he could do action as well as he did with Fast 7. I'm like, oh my God, such great hands. Jason Momoa, the effects look phenomenal for me. A lot of people who were like, well, that looks like a lot of CGI over there. And like, what do you expect? It's underwater, you motherfucker. There's going to be a lot of, and you're watching it on your phone.
Yeah.
Get ready when you go in the theater.
Yeah.
So back and forth with that, but I might be with you on Shazam.
Really? Oh, great.
Yeah, and that trailer changed my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Because I saw it, and a lot of people, my favorite trailer from Comic-Con was Godzilla King Monsters.
That's a great trailer.
God, I loved it. Just the way they cut it, the music they put to it.
King Ghidorah in silhouette.
Oh, God.
That was
Mothra
great.
opening
Mothra,
up underneath. Oh, Jesus.
All of it.
But Shazam was my second.
Yeah.
And there, for good reason, I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now, talk about righting the ship in the DC universe or changing course. We did it with Justice League, so I will give it to Justice League in this way. They created a tone that I liked a little bit better than all the movies, meaning... And I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself. I love the darkness of Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, but it wasn't working for audiences. And there were a few things that I would tinker with. And I think that they tried in Justice League. And so, A for effort, I'll give them that. I always say that. But hopefully now we're kind of like, here we go. We're set. We look at Justice League and we go, well, it happened. Nothing we can do.
Right.
Learn from our mistakes and move forward. The mistake being for me was getting rid of a director midstream, adding another that had different ideas.
Can't deny that.
We had a little bit of a different, but what the bottom line is, and at the end of this Reilly Roundtable, episode 11, is that we love these movies. We had fun with these movies. We debated these movies. I like one over the other. Rocha likes one over the other. And that's okay.
Yes.
And so, guys, thank you very much for joining me on episode 11 of the Reilly Roundtable. Make sure you drop in some comments here. Now that it's on the one-on-one feed at Collider Podcast 1, share this feed. Tell your friends about the Reilly Roundtable. Drop in a comment. If you can go in and drop a comment about the Reilly Roundtable, tell me how I'm doing. I listen. I want to know. I want to know everything so that we can keep building this great community. And speaking of communities, at patreon.com, the Reilly Roundtable, you can join the community. I have Discord access that is on the lowest tier. You get to jump into Discord, talk to me. They send me questions from the Schmodown. Did you know this, Rocha?
Yes.
I actually go, hey, guys, I'm preparing for the Schmodown. Send me some questions. And all throughout the day, boom, 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 boom. Wow. And so I'm constantly on Discord talking Schmodown, talking I drop pictures of Cal. I talk about the Reilly Roundtable. I talk about Rule of Two. I talk about everything on this Discord. And then, of course, you can join the community and get some extra stuff there. Screaming at the Void, the show I'm going to be doing with Tom Dagnino.
Nice.
That's a tier that you can get. You can also get Reilly's Sundays with Reilly's, which is a special show that I do every Sunday and have a special guest show up there almost every time. So thank you for the support there. Patreon.com/The Reilly Roundtable. But that will do it here for this latest one. I want to thank you, John Rocha. Where can the people find you?
Thank you for having me on, Riley. It's always a blast talking with you about this.
I
kind
love
of
it,
stuff.
dude.
We don't get enough time. We work back to back here.
We do.
And so occasionally we'll roll back and have an opinion about stuff, have it back and forth. But having a concentrated amount of time to go back and forth about something is always a blast with you, man. Thank you so much.
Me too, man.
You guys can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And like Riley said, all the stuff I do here at Collider, but also Collider Sports. I'm doing a lot of stuff on Collider
man.
Sports.
That's
It's been a
exciting.
blast doing the pro wrestling stuff on Pro Wrestling Sheet. But we got the Collider Sports Show coming out next week. First official show. We're going to be on a set, going to have graphics, the whole nine. We're trying to line up a guest for a special guest for it. We'll see if it comes through. But that's our official start. Me, Matt Knows, Mark Fernandez, and then someone else will be there, hopefully, as a fourth chair. And we're going to talk about all the preseason games from the NFL from week 3 and other sports stories as well. Thanks to everybody who's been loving the Premier League roundup we do. And there's more stuff coming. So just pay attention to that. It's on its own separate podcast feed. It's on its own separate YouTube feed. So please go subscribe to that as well. And maybe we'll work in some superhero stuff while we're in there. Why not? I mean, it's really not much of a difference between sports and superhero stuff. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to me go crazy about a Justice League and hating BVS as much as I do. And thank you, Reilly, for having me on, man.
Well, my pleasure as always, dude. I appreciate you coming on and spending your time with me. And to everyone out there, I will be back next week with a brand new episode of the Reilly Roundtable, which will drop on Thursdays, every Thursday on the Collider one-on-one feed. Make sure you tell your friends. And for Reilly and for Rocha, I will see you next week, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.